All right, welcome to the November Stowe Sparks. Today I'm excited to have on the program Stelio Verzera from Cocoon Projects and Liquid Organizations. Stelio, we chatted about one of the early Stowe Sparks programs on what Cocoon was doing and its very innovative approach to credit accounting. So in this program, we're going to catch up with Stelio, who's been running around like crazy, participating in all sorts of fabulous things. And I think what I'll do is just mention for the first, just right off the top, that Stelio is profiled and Cocoon Projects as a company is profiled in Decision Making for Dummies, first chapter, which you can download off my site. But anyway, in that we talk about liquid organizations. So let's start with what liquid organizations means, what's the value of a liquid organization, and how does it apply to a company like Cocoon Projects and other companies.
Okay.
Over to you.
First of all, thank you. Okay, liquid organization is a governance model, an open governance model that we've designed in Cocoon Projects for ourselves at the end of 2011, beginning 2012. It's a model we've released actually a Creative Commons white paper for it. So if anybody is interested to go deeper, it's on liquidorganization.info. It's a model composed of 4 pillars that enables an organization from a project team up to the whole organization, depending on the scope, to act without bosses, with a pure meritocratic system, peer-based, in which people don't have fixed roles, but can apply to any threat or opportunity where they think they can bring value. And as they bring value to the group participating in the governance, they earn more money and more decisional power proportionally. So the advantage of this is not having any waste of human potential, meaning that the formal system is not so different from the informal system. It's actually almost the same, which is a very good gain in the sense that people can decide, and usually they do it very well, where they can produce more value. And this makes the organization really a real-time adaptive organization. So real-time adaptability is one. Then better and faster information processing. We don't have information processing bottlenecks based on people that have fixed roles, like a marketing manager, that are supposed to process the huge amount of information that nowadays we have to process in order to stay competitive. And another very important result is the engagement and spontaneous leadership that rises in such a system. People are very happy to work without any constraint in the way they can create value. This is very engaging, and the level of disengagement we have now in old-style hierarchical companies is amazing. It's above 80%.
Yeah, exactly. Now, tell me what the 4 pillars are.
The 4 pillars of the model are collaborative working environment, collaborative working board. In the case of Cocoon, we use a Kanban board. So that's based on transparency and on pool. It's mainly based on the lean management principles. Then we have a contribution accounting system or credit accounting system that is used in order for peers to evaluate the value that other people are creating within activities. Then we have a set of collaborative decision-making tools. And when I say a decision is treated like a work item, but of course it's a special work item, we have different kind of decision-making tools. And when I say tools, I mean tools in a specific term like software or like Post-it and processes. So it's the coupling of both things. And the 4th pillar is a reputation tracking system that enables what is called sigmergy. So the ability of other people to act on what you are doing. So to see what you're doing, how the system is improving on what you're doing. And so it's an operational reputation. It's not based on what people just say about you, but it's based on what you've actually done within the organization.
So now that's the internal focus. What's the value to the customer in this kind of approach?
Well, it depends on what you do, but basically, what you do as a company, what's your customer. There might be different value added to that, depending on what you do. In our case, our ability to process information and stay on the edge of what is happening in the world in this way, and also our ability to attract the best people, are probably the most important values we bring to our customers. And a purely meritocratic system attracts the best people, people that simply are not afraid of a meritocracy, of being evaluated by peers on a continuous basis, which is not based on organizational politics, but it's based on real value creation. Collaborative decision making gives us a strong alignment between our strategy making and our execution, which is consistency for our customers as well. And it's also much more effective in terms of response to whatever happens, even whatever happens to our customers or partners, not just whatever happens to us.
Now, how does this apply to Cocoon Projects? Because it began with Cocoon, it morphed into Liquid Organizations, and then it gets applied back to Cocoon and other companies. Tell us more about how that's evolved.
Yes, the Liquid Organization, or Liquido, as we call it, the Liquido model is a model. It's a model. It's a framework. Of course, then you can implement it in different instances. No, we have our own. We have. The important thing is that you keep the 4 pillars and their relationship, but then you can implement it in different kind of ownership, the kind of company you have, the kind of production structure you have. This is a framework for governance, but of course there is the value production part of the company. We usually push it to have all the people of the company taking part in the governance. It's not mandatory, but it's our best suggestion. So what is happening now is that other companies, other organizations actually are getting more and more interested in Liquido, and we're helping a few ones in the implementation of Liquido. So in the best way to put it in place in their environment, which is different from Cocoon Projects. I like to say that we see the innovation space on 3 directions, which are leanness, inclusiveness, and openness. And every company has to decide where they want to be tomorrow in this space. Imagine it's like a 3-axis space. So where do you want your company to be tomorrow? If you think that you want to push all the 3 of them, probably Liquido is right for you. Liquido pushes it all the way up on the 3 directions.
Okay, fascinating. So for more information on Liquido, people would go to your white paper on liquido.net?
Liquidorganization.info.
Info.info. Okay, great. Anything else that people should know who are watching this that should know about Liquido and where it fits in the context of traditional management practices? Is this a framework that's really built for startups, or can a medium-sized company that's more established morph into the framework?
No, absolutely. We strongly believe it's not meant for startups, but it's meant for any company that, again, wants to push all these 3 dimensions because they believe is where their future is. Of course, there is a difference in implementing it in an existing company, and even more if it's a big company, and implementing it in a small company or even a startup. Much easier to start over with the model from the beginning. Much more difficult to implement it in a company that already has a hierarchical structure and even more hierarchical culture. So, but that's change management. That's true for every change. So we're working on different ways to implement it. Maybe starting from core projects in some cases. Maybe starting from a department if the company has different departments. We have learned that we need the buy-in both from the top management and from the operational part. So it's 2 ways buy-in that we need in an existing company to implement it. But there is a lot on the table. Going around in events, management events around the world, we're learning that there are a lot of other experiments like ours going on in the world. They are all based on the same principles. So it's not important to me if they choose to implement Liquid or not. The important thing is that organizations, in my opinion, now need to realize it's a moment in which evolution is a do or die. And that's true for any size organization, and it's even more true for the big ones. So you want to start with holacracy, you want to start with whatever other model, that's perfectly fine, but you have to move. So this is our proposal. We are working a lot also with universities. We are building a platform, a software platform for it, also to have different organizations work in an ecosystem using the liquid organization model between them. And so there is a lot we're doing, but it's just our small contribution to a big wave of changes ongoing in the world.
Yeah, I appreciate the way you frame that, because the biggest wave of change and where it takes each person, particularly the leaders and the decision makers in the company, is back to themselves. Because these aren't changes that come from manipulating process or from start. You have to, all of those principles that you've named are ones that are intrinsic to each person. And a lot of traditional business practices have taken people away from those. So this is a return back to engaging yourself in the process. And I think that's where a lot of the disengagement statistics come from, is that people become disengaged in what they're capable of and their true potential. And so this is the place where you can actually plug yourself in and play, so to speak.
There are two things that I love to repeat. One is that now again, it's again all about people. So it's no longer that people have to adapt to organizational structure and processes. Now we have to. It's now called adaptive organization design. We have to design organization that can adapt to the way people want to work in any given moment, and that's not easy. The other thing, there's a new kind of leadership coming out of this, and I simply call it love. It's a kind of leadership based on the new consciousness of unity between people, of the fact that we are living organisms. And I believe there is truly a shift in human consciousness about this. We're going from like a teenager's ego-based structure as human beings to a more mature, interbeing conscious mankind. And this is, I mean, this is amazing. This is just the beginning. I think the best that's yet to come in that direction.
I totally agree, and I find it probably one of the most exciting things about this process that we're in right now and this transformation that we're in. It might be scary, but it's exhilarating, it's edgy, it's rich, and I think it can bring out the absolute best in what we bring. So, anything else you'd like? Any other tips, Stelio, for the audience?
No, just please reach out to us if you're interested. It's a work in progress, and we need all the people interested. Just that.
All right, so that's liquidorganizations.info or Cocoon Projects. And again, you can find Cocoon Projects in Decision Making for Dummies, Chapter 1 at minimum. There's also, Stelio was amazing when I was writing the book, because Stelio talked about how Cocoon Project structures its decision making. So for companies that are thinking about how to do that, there's some hints in there about how Cocoon went about it. So thanks again, Stelio.
Thank you very much. Thank you.